is it still really chocolate? Chocolate purists say no, and the FDA sees it the same way. If a product wishes to label itself as chocolate without using the word milk or white preceding it, it's gonna have to adhere to even stricter guidelines in order to do so. Dark chocolate is an example of a product that has to play by these rules. Now, the FDA's guidelines for labeling a product straight up chocolate are very long and very boring, but essentially it means no to artificial flavors and yes to natural flavors derived from cocoa sources. But as you can probably imagine, there are lots of commercially successful chocolate-like products out there that fall short of the FDA's stringent chocolate guidelines, and cost is the biggest reason why. Genuine cocoa beans can be pretty darn expensive, and companies tend not to like expensive things. So a lot of companies have tweaked their recipes in order to save them money. In doing so, they lose the right to label themselves as chocolate, but in order to hide that inconvenient truth from consumers, companies get creative, if not downright deceptive with their wording. For instance, in 2008, Hershey's whatchamacallit altered its recipe to use vegetable oil instead of the more expensive cocoa butter, and thereafter could no longer legally claim the candy contained milk chocolate. The wrapper now states that it is, quote, made with chocolate, which is a clever way of phrasing it in a way that's technically not untrue. Whatchamacallit does indeed have some cocoa in it, but the percentage is so low that it can't be a milk chocolate bar, let alone a chocolate bar. In fact, that same year, Hershey's also altered the recipes of other candies, including Mr. Goodbar, Take 5, and the now extinct Hershey's Kissables, which originally had milk chocolate in the corner of its packaging, but discreetly changed the phrasing to chocolate candy. And by the way, just to be clear, Hershey's didn't change the recipes to all of their candies. Their top sellers like Hershey's Milk Chocolate Bar, Reese's Candy, Kisses, and Kit Kat didn't get altered at all. But the point is, consumers have to be alert, or else they might get whatchamacallited with deceptive marketing. Words and phrases like chocolatey or chocolate flavored or made with chocolate are usually a good indication that the product doesn't contain enough genuine chocolate to fit the FDA guidelines. Big Candy certainly doesn't make it easy for you to tell the real chocolate products from the fakes, which is why today we're gonna play a quick game to help drill the concept home. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you chocolate or mocklet. I'm gonna show you a product and you guess if it's chocolate based on the FDA regulations. First up, this drink. Starbucks' double chocolatey chip creme frappuccino. Chocolate or mocklet? The answer, mocklet. Starbucks' double chocolatey chip creme frappuccino isn't just named that because it sounds cute. One look at the ingredients in this bad boy will tell you that there is no way Starbucks could legally call this a chocolate product. Next up, snow caps. Chocolate or mocklet? The answer, chocolate. That's right. Although the word nonpareil might seem a little suspect, that's just the name of the little white sprinkles on these actual chocolatey pieces. Chocolate pieces, not chocolatey. Even I'm falling into it. Round 3, the famous Butterfinger bar. Chocolate or mocklet? The answer here, mocklet. Now, I gotta hand it to them. They really did what they could by crafting the phrase crispity, crunchity, peanut buttery bar covered in a rich chocolatey coating made with cocoa. Yeah, they used the word chocolatey, but they surrounded it with other cute words ending with Y, so they hit it really well. Plus, they even mention the cocoa, but unfortunately, they don't use enough cocoa to use the word chocolate. Butterfingers contain vegetable oil and less than 2% of cocoa. Sorry to lay that figure on your Butterfinger. Now, of course, plenty of popular products are still totally authentic according to the FDA guidelines. Do they taste better than their non-chocolate competitors? Ultimately, it's up for the individual consumer to decide. But for all of this chocolate versus non-chocolate talk, there is an upside here. There is one advantage to using less cacao that we haven't touched on yet, but one that we should probably consider given that it's the holidays and we should be thinking about those in need. For years, the chocolate industry has notoriously employed child labor. About 2/3 of the world's cocoa supply comes from West Africa, where, according to the 2015 US Labor Department report, more than 2 million children were engaged in dangerous labor in cocoa growing regions. As a result, the odds are high that a chocolate bar bought in the United States is the product of child labor. While most of the world's biggest chocolate companies like Hershey's, Mars, Nestle, and more have signed an agreement to reduce their reliance on child labor, it is still a problem. And it's a good reason that cutting back on genuine chocolate might not be the worst thing in the world. With a little research, it's easy to find which companies have signed the agreement and made positive strides and which haven't. A few notable brands that go the extra mile ethically are Tony's Chocolonely, Seed and Bean, and and Ocelot Chocolate, all of which pledge to know where their chocolate is coming from and pay above fair trade prices for cacao beans. So the next time you end up trading some mocklet coins after spinning the dreidel, or you find yourself reaching for a bowl of holiday treats around the Christmas tree, be ready to drop either of those fun facts. Hey, what you're eating is either not chocolate, or it could very well be the product of child labor. You're gonna be the hit of every holiday party. But hey, that's just a theory. A food theory. Bon appetit. Here's another theory you should subscribe right now. Food Theory is coming strong each and every week with content to help and entertain you, the consumer. And if this episode satisfied your sweet tooth, be sure to check out our episode on cakes. Turns out it's not just Big Chocolate that's been lying to you. Big Cake has been tricking you about eggs in the cake mixes for years. Go check that one out. Link is on screen right now. And I will see you all next week.
Are you the guy that ordered like a dozen pizzas?
That's me. Just so you know, I'm not gonna eat them all by myself.
Sure.
No, really, I need them for science.
Okay.
Clearly you don't believe me, so let me explain. You see, I'm a YouTuber, and I need these pizzas for an experiment.
Tip me 18%. Nobody needs to hear about this.
How about 20? Hello, Internet! Welcome to Food Theory, the show that delivers food for thought with extra cheese. Theorists, here's the deal. I've eaten a lot of pizza this year, and I mean a lot. As a matter of fact, I've probably eaten more pizza in 2020 than I have in any other year of my life. And that's including sophomore year of college, which is an accomplishment. Now, I'm sure that we've all had our dining habits upended to some degree thanks in large part to the pandemic. In my case, ordering pizza has been a safe, easy, and cost-effective way to get my family of 3 fed in a pinch. But because we've been ordering out so often, the cost effectiveness of it all has suddenly become a top priority. Now, let me just say this up top. This episode is not about the finer, more subjective aspects of pizza. So all you Italian, New Yorker, and Chicago pizza purists, we're gonna hear your arguments in a future episode. Today is all about who can get delicious pizza to my door and into my stomach for the best value. We're talking about the big boys, the multinational pizza chains that deliver pizza to the most customers. No matter where in the world you're watching this episode from, there's a good chance you're familiar with at least one of the 4 biggest pizza chains worldwide: Domino's, Pizza Hut, Little Caesars, and Papa John's. Now, I'll be the first to admit I definitely prefer the pizzas from certain companies on this list over others, but at the same time, I'm not here to argue against the world's palate. These 4 companies have all managed to strike a chord with customers the world over. So today, Food Theory is focusing on a more measurable and objective metric: value. That's right, we're gonna figure out who delivers the pizza that's objectively the best for your buck. We've done it with fast food fries, we've done it with fast food soft drinks, and today, Food Theory is doing it with pizza chains. So kick back and enjoy yourself a slice, theorists. Today we're gonna show you, the consumer, which pie takes the cake. Now, as far as I'm concerned, there are a few major categories that need to be addressed. The first is how much pizza I'm getting for my dollar. I wanna know how many grams of pizza my dollar is buying. The way I see it, if I'm gonna drop my hard-earned money on a pizza, it better fill me up. Look, if I wanted to eat food that's actually just air, I'd go buy some cotton candy. But if I wanna feel like there's a giant stone rolling around in my gut, and I do, that means it's pizza time, baby. I also want to focus on toppings. We definitely got to judge these pizza chains based on their toppings. Are they generous with the amounts, or are they overcharging relative to other restaurants? It's important that we compare like-sized pizzas, and it just so happens that all 4 of our pizza chain restaurants offer a 14-inch option. So to keep things fair, we only ordered 14-inch pizzas across the board. We also stuck with each restaurant's standard pizza crust. That is to say, no deep dishes, sandwiches, no thin crusts, no fancy stuff. In the case of Domino's and Pizza Hut, that was their 14-inch large hand-tossed. For Little Caesars, it was the 14-inch round pizza, and at Papa John's, we went for the 14-inch large original crust. We assigned this experiment to food theory field researcher Amy, who you might remember as the Tootsie Pop champion and our Chuck E. Cheese dance rebel. Amy ordered the same 3 pies from each restaurant: 1 cheese pizza, 1 pepperoni pizza, and 1 pizza with extra pepperoni. Why these 3 types, you ask? Well, the cheese pizza gave us a baseline for the weight and price of each restaurant's 14-inch pizza. The pepperoni pizza gave us a sense of how much topping each pizza chain is gonna add, as well as how much each chain charged for a single topping. Finally, the extra pepperoni pizzas not only gave us an additional data point on topping generosity, but also gave us a glimpse into what each pizza chain interprets an extra topping to mean. Granted, pepperonis aren't the only topping out there, but it was a good variable to isolate because all 4 chains offered it. Using a kitchen scale, Amy weighed all 12 individual pizzas. She then meticulously plucked off all the pepperonis and weighed them separately. Lastly, we recorded the takeout menu price of each pizza. We debated including the delivery fees in the price, but certain restaurants had flat delivery fees and others changed the amount based on the distance they had to deliver, so to eliminate that as a variable, we just went for a flat rate pizza, no deals, no coupons, no added fees. And so with all the raw data in hand, it was time to crunch the numbers. Immediately, before even doing any calculations, a disturbing trend stood out. Almost every pepperoni pizza weighed less than the cheese pizza from that restaurant, and extra pepperoni also weighed less. Sometimes it weighed even less than the regular pepperoni toppings. And not just a little bit less, I am talking a lot of bit less. Look at these numbers. Domino's cheese, 736 grams. Pepperoni, 695 grams. Extra pepperoni, 706. Papa John's cheese pizza, 884 grams. Pepperoni, 820 grams. Extra pepperoni, even less, at 798 grams. Same thing at Pizza Hut. I mean, that is a huge difference. I think it's fair to say that when you order a pizza from any of these chains, the assumption is that the cheese pizza is the base that you're getting.